Huh? Hey, I'm tryna win. I'm tryna win in the 716 and I'm making it big. I wanna live. I think I'm
Yo, what's good, man? This is Easy Pinch Out Podcast with your one and only host, Glory Boy, back here with another special guest in the building. Come on.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm good.
Yeah, thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I know you're a very busy woman. It's hard to catch you. It's hard to catch you. That's why I was like, man, what day works better for you? It was like this day. I was like, period.
You tried to catch me a couple times.
So many times. Finally, we're here. But yeah, I appreciate you for coming. And also, the reason why I have you here actually because a lot of people also have been recommending you. I just want to tell you that because I have some friends that knows you. They were like, man, you have to interview her. Like she has been doing a lot for the community. Like she's doing really great. And we think she'll be very inspirational to the young women or young men that's growing up as well. I was like, yeah, of course. Why not?
Well, I'm flattered. Thank you.
And definitely. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, what's your name, and then from there, we're just going to move forward.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
My name is Ruqayyah Simmons. I am co-founder and executive director of Black Boys Read 2.
Black Boys Read 2.
Yes.
What made you come up with that?
Oh, okay. So I used to teach 5th grade.
Okay.
And I found that my students, mainly my male students, weren't really interested in reading. The school that I was working at did not have a large library in the school, so I slowly built a classroom library. I bought hundreds of books out of my own pocket to fill my classroom full of literature that represented my students. And I just remember one day I was driving home and I called my friend, Jalecia, who is my co-founder.
Okay.
Shout out to Jalecia.
And she should have been here, but she's a very busy woman
She's
too.
also very busy.
Yeah.
And I called her and I said, hey, crazy idea. Let's put bookshelves in barbershops. And it snowballed from there.
I just want to ask you why you chose barbershops though, because there's many places you could put books in, such as library. Because your friend is actually a librarian, like scientist.
She was a librarian, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Yep. So I did my homework. I was like, maybe she might come with her. Let me just try to do a little homework on her and see, so that way I have some questions to ask. But yeah, why did you choose the barbershop?
So the idea was where we can meet boys where they are and trying to tap into locations that aren't already being utilized, I guess. There's a lot of little libraries that pop up in the community. And we just wanted to try to find places that boys come together. And barbershops have always been a community hub. I know I'm not a man, but I see all y'all be in the barbershop for a long time talking and gossiping. Y'all worse than girls.
Yeah, really? Oh yeah, in the barbershop, yeah, it be a lot of chat. It be a lot of chat. When you sit on that chair, how we look at our barbers is like the barber at that moment, they become like a therapist.
Yeah, a mentor,
a
father figure, an uncle, a grandfather, and we wanted to tap into that community. We wanted to be able to find places for younger boys to be able to bond with their brothers, their cousins, their dads, and try to change that narrative, giving them something other than just be on the phone, be on the tablet, and try to create communities surrounding books and books that feature characters that look like them.
Right. That's amazing. And I like the shirt you got on.
Thank you.
Whoever did that design did a really nice job. And so I want to ask you, so besides just you having 5th graders not wanting to read, the guys, so like when you was growing up, how was it? Like, did you come across like guys who were just like don't want to read and you was just a young girl reading and so on?
I loved to read. My co-founder, Jalecia, she always was reading. She always shares when we talk together. She always shares the stories about how she used to go to the library with her family all the time. I was the same. I was always reading. My family really valued reading and education growing up. And that's part of the reason why I became a teacher. I think that Black educators are really important. And so when I made a career switch and became a teacher, and I taught for a bit, and now I supervise teachers. And so education is really important. I think that oftentimes it's always the Black males or males of color, girls too, but especially the boys that kind of get forgotten. And I saw it in my classroom. Jalecia saw it in her classrooms, and we wanted to find a way that we could help with that.
And we appreciate you because that actually makes a huge difference. Like you mentioned, I mean, a lot of boys, especially Black boys, we tend to rely more on like the guys. Oh, the guy can tell me what to do. The guy can lead this and that. But you guys taking that role of becoming teachers and also mentors. That's an amazing role to go, you know, because a lot of kids gonna really understand, okay, reading is very important and also just having a bright future. So let me ask you, so when you was growing up, did you always wanted to become a teacher, or did you want to become something else?
Well, of course I wanted to be a lot of things growing up. Right. But I always wanted to be a teacher. I used to play school with my younger sister and brother. I was always a teacher, obviously, giving them homework to do because I was the oldest. And
you give them homework to do?
Yes, absolutely.
No way. If you was my big sister, nah.
I mean, I didn't say they did it, but I did assign it.
Right.
And for a bit, I've always worked in nonprofit area. I've always done something with education. I ended up going to school for PR. I always thought that I was going to be Olivia Pope from Scandal. But I went into educational event planning. I worked at North Park, actually, Buffalo Public School, doing Saturday academies and community programming. And I remember one day I was sitting in a meeting, and Teach for America came in to speak to our team. And I remember sitting there and saying, I want to be a teacher. And so I went back to school and got a second master's degree, and I taught.
That's amazing. And you enjoying the process and so on.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the best thing you like about teaching?
I just loved, now I don't teach anymore, but when I was teaching, I just really loved seeing my children thrive. They would come in as young. I taught 5th grade, so They're still young, they're still children, they still love school, and just watching them grow throughout the year. I loved being able to build relationships with them. I was busy. I'm busy now, but I was busy then too, going to football games and dance recitals. And I found that it really meant something to my students when they looked out in the crowd and they saw their teacher there. And not just their teacher being there to check a box, but genuinely invested in not only who they are as a student, but who they are as a person. I love being able to see some of my students when I'm out in the community. They always come back and say hi, and that's always very touching to me. Nice.
And that's why I always say too, like, teachers have the most important job, because when we leave that house and we go to school, that's our parent, you know? Because like me, I'm from Africa, so growing up in Africa and going there in school, the teacher can't whoop you, the teacher can discipline you, because as soon as you leave that house, your parents tell you, when you go there, behave, because I'm not there. They're your new parents.
Yeah.
You know, so, and you doing that's an amazing thing, because you don't know what those kids are going through.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, by you showing them that support, because a lot of times, as being Black itself, is like, we don't get that support because our parents are constantly working. They have a job. A lot of them don't have businesses, so they have to go to work to provide for their families, so they're not going to be there at the games. So shout out to you. Shout out to you. And I wanted to ask you, you say Black boys read too. So when you say Black boys read too, what is the importance of literacy in your own opinion?
Well, so the way that education kind of works with teaching how to read, children learn how to read up until 3rd grade. So you're learning how to read, and then when you go into 3rd grade, it switches over to reading to learn. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, because of course, when we think back into school, we just learned how to read. We don't realize that. And there's so many children, not even just Black boys or children of color, but children in general, who, if you can't read by 3rd grade, your educational career is stunted, and your higher chance of dropout and not going to college and being able to provide for your family. And there were so many children who would come into my 5th grade classroom who couldn't read or couldn't read well. And so when I started to look at the numbers of that and compare it to talking to other teachers, I realized that it was something that we needed to do something about. And yes, there's tutoring, and you can say that teachers need to do better in the classroom and parents need to support teachers and put the blame everywhere else. But when you have books that are written by authors that look like us and have protagonists and heroes and role models in these books that represent the children who are opening them, it makes a difference. It makes them want to read. It makes them want to pick it up. And when the best way to learn how to read is to just read, just keep going, looking at the words. And I found that a lot of times there aren't books available to these children who, one, have characters that look like them or are in good condition. So when we started Black Boys Read Too, what was really important for us was the books that we were placing in the barbershops and now other community spaces, that they're brand new books. We take book donations, but they have to be brand new. We want to curate an experience for each of our barbershops based off of their clientele, based off of where they are in the city. So if we have barbershops that are on the west side, we try to have books that are representative of that community, have bilingual books available. We want to make sure that we are giving our children the best because they deserve the best.
They deserve the best. And also, like, taking those books in the barbershops, what are a few things that some parents that have walked in the barbershop, seeing you guys reading also the books to the kids, have said to you guys?
We always get such support from our community, especially when we first launched. I was getting book donations all the time, because when you go onto our Amazon wish list and buy the books to ship, it gets shipped to my house, and my apartment was full of books. It still is. But we started a barbershop book club. So some of our locations that have our bookshelves, we would gather the barbers and we'd gather community and we would all sit down and read. And it was amazing to see moms and dads and their children and uncles and mentors come in, and along with the barbers sitting around and taking turns reading. I'll never forget one of our first barbershop book clubs. There was a little boy, and it's always hard to guess ages of children when they come in. Yep. And it came to his turn, and he read so eloquently. And I had to stop him. I was like, "How old are you?" And he was in the first grade. First grade. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, it just like made me smile. And it was just so much joy just to see that. And he continued to come over and over again. And we're going to be starting those book clubs again, and hopefully having male facilitators, volunteers come in to do it. Because as of right now, it's just been myself and Jalecia leading everything. And we're trying to build capacity now so that we can have more book clubs going on and we can switch out books more regularly.
You guys have been working hard, really hard. And so let's talk about the barbershops, though. Like, so like those young kids that come in the barbershops, are they allowed to take the books home?
So we ask that the barbers are just making sure that the books are available when we come back to switch them out. Okay. So the goal is to switch out the books quarterly so that they're always getting new titles. And we tell the barbers, because they ask us that a lot, are we able to let them take them home? Right. And we say that your customers more than we. If it's someone that you know is coming in every single week, absolutely, let them take the book home. Right. If it's someone who's just coming in for the first time, maybe having them read it while they're there. Because we do want to make sure that the books are always available for whoever wants to come and enjoy them.
There. Right, yeah. Right. That's true. And so what are some locations you guys picked throughout Buffalo?
So I don't want to get in trouble and not name all of them. So if I don't name the barbershop.
Hey, shout out to y'all.
If I don't name your barbershop, charge it to my head, not my heart. We did start with 3 barbershops when we first launched. And now we're up to about 15 locations.
Wait, what?
So we have expanded out of just barbershops. Okay. We are in some community spaces as well. But we have Tyson Cuts over on Carolina. That was one of our original barbershops. We are at S&M 79 Barber & Co., which is on Hurdle and Parkside. We're at Fade and Full. We're at Signature Cuts. We're at Mighty Fine Cuts on Niagara. We're at House of Masters.
On Delaware, right? Houses Masters. I think it's on Delaware or something. Sean?
Maybe. Forgive me. We talk to a lot of different people when it comes down to placing the barbershops.
Right.
So just because you own it doesn't mean that you were the one who facilitated the and also myself and Jalicia, we kind of take different barbershops that we lead on. Yeah, we have so many. There's, and of course I'm drawing a blank, but we've also expanded out into other places. So we're in the Boys and Girls Club that's on Bailey. We're in some waiting rooms. So Best Self has a mental health clinic for children on Delaware. So we're in their waiting room. There was a new social work, psychology clinic that have opened. We're in that waiting room. So we do also have bookshelves available. So if there's any barbershops or other community spaces that are looking to have a bookshelf placed, let us know. You can go on our website. There's also a full list of all the barbershops that we are on, that we are located in on our website as well.
Wow. So you guys that's a lot of connections too. And that's huge because you're making a difference in all corners of Buffalo. You said north side, south side, east side, all over the place. So that's really good. That's really good. So let me talk about you and your partner. How do you guys? Because I know it's not easy. You guys have been doing this together for a minute. How do you guys keep that neutral relationship and saying, you know what, let's make a difference? Because you're busy doing your own thing, she's busy doing her own things, but you guys are continuing pushing this positive movement.
Well, Jalicia and I, we first met because we were partnered in. She did the Open Buffalo Leadership Program, and I was matched to be her mentor. And after that program was completed, we still continued to hang out and spend time. So now we're friends. And so that from there, we were able to build the business side of the relationship as well. We both worked in education. We're both moms. Now we both work for the same organization. So that's all in different capacities, of course. So that's made it very easy. And we're both just very passionate about the work. This is definitely something that brings us joy, especially in a time like this where there aren't a lot of things that just bring joy to the Black community.
Right.
And that's a unique thing about our organization, is that we can be centered surrounding joy.
That's true. That's true. And shout out to you, man, because it's not easy. It's not easy to have a partnership, plus you have other things going on in your life. And you said you two are mothers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about you being a mother. Just being very busy and being a mother. How do you manage to kind of like have your time, everything all placed and everything going well?
I think it's just keeping a calendar. My daughter's 14, so that also makes it a little easier. I know I don't look like I could have a 14-year-old, but so that makes it a little bit easier. Right. Jalicia, she does a good job as well. Her daughter is a little bit younger, 7 or 8, I believe. Jalicia, don't kill me for not remembering the exact age, but we just lean on each other. So if there's an event coming up and one of us can't make it, the other just really works hard to make sure that we're there. Right. In the beginning, we both wanted to make sure that we were at everything. If there was a tabling event, we both wanted to be there. If we were placing a bookshelf, we both wanted to be there. And we realized that we don't have to do that. You could take these things and I can take these things, and then the really big things that we're both available for, absolutely, let's both be there. But sometimes you have to realize you can let go of some of the control, and it's about the success of the organization and getting books in the hands of boys and being able to do that by any means necessary.
So being able to compromise with your colleague is very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So like for those that just how would you kind of like, because I know you mentioned a few things there, like basically you take one part, you take another part, but like how would you explain to someone that doesn't really know how to compromise with others and how to actually be able to do it right in order to compromise?
I think that's a skill you just obtain from working in the real world. I mean, we compromise every single day. We compromise in our personal lives, whether that's dealing with family and friends. We compromise in our day jobs. You know, if you have a day job and you're working for someone, things aren't always, you're not going to agree with your boss every single time, but you have to compromise, you have to follow it. I think if you want something to be successful, you realize that it's not about you. So Black Boys Read 2 is not about me. It's not about Jalicia. It's about the community. It's about putting diverse books in the hands of our children.
Right.
And Jalicia and I are kind of both the same in the sense that we never wanted to really be the face of it. Like, we would love.
You guys like to be like on the back end.
We would love, and that's why we're in the process of building capacity now.
Right.
We want to be able to have members of our community come and facilitate those book clubs. We want members of our community to come in and facilitate changing out those bookshelves, because when you have members of community involved in something for the community, it thrives. And that's what we're working on now.
Right. Have you faced any like mistreatment, just being a Black woman, very educated, got a lot of things going on? Have you kind of came across people that actually wanted to belittle you and make you feel less of yourself with whatever that you're doing?
If I have, I didn't notice. I'm just
good.
being honest.
That's
I mean,
good.
I know who I am.
Right.
I think I will say you kind of have to have tough skin when you're a Black woman, especially a young Black woman working in any field. I'm very educated, not to, toot my own horn or anything like that.
Right.
But, and sometimes people can be intimidated by that. But you can't let that bother you. That's not my problem. That's a personal problem for that person. They have to understand and look into why they might be feeling intimidated, because it's never my intention to do that. And I think when you are just in spaces where you're working with people of across generations and different ages and different educational backgrounds, you're going to run into that, and you just can't let it bother you. And you just try to find spaces that are welcoming.
Right. Definitely. I mean, that's how you gotta handle it. If you know you're doing something right for yourself, whatever anybody else, if you let their insecurity and everything come your way, then they're in control of you. That's how I look at it sometimes. So now let's talk about, because I know there's a lot of things that's going on within our society, within our community. A lot of young women, going crazy, drinking, smoking, and so on. So, like, what advice would you give them? Because I know you have taken good care of yourself, because we want to make a positive impact within the community. So, what advice would you give them? Because time flies, and for them to actually be able to create something good for themselves.
Well, I will say that I am not one to judge what anyone does. I have a 14-year-old daughter. If you do the math, I had my daughter, I was pregnant in high school. But I didn't let that stop me. I still went to school. I still got my bachelor's degree. I have 2 master's degrees. I have a good job. I'm able to do things in the community. I think that when you make decisions, you just have to remember that there's always tomorrow. There's tomorrow. And everyone says, like, live your life like there isn't tomorrow. But I don't agree. I think that there's tomorrow. Most times there is tomorrow. And you want to plan for that. You want to make sure that you're not doing anything that is going to interfere with what you want tomorrow. or next year. So I am a firm believer of, yes, do the things that build that experience, build that life experience, have the fun that you want to have, but just make sure you're not doing too much. Make sure that it's in control and it doesn't take away from all the gifts and the blessings that you have coming for you.
That's true. That's true. And also, let's go back to, actually, you brought up, you said you had your daughter when you was in high school.
Yeah, so I was pregnant my senior year. I had my daughter during my freshman year of college.
Okay.
I actually, it's always funny because I ended up having my daughter and then got out of the hospital, and then 2 days later I sat for my accounting final exam. And I remember when I came in, my professor was like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I'm here to take my final exam." He's like, "Well, you just had a baby." I'm like, "Okay." And I'm here to take my accounting final exam.
Exactly.
So I never let anything stop me, because I wanted to make sure that I was who I wanted my daughter to be. Right. I want my daughter to be better than me. I wanted to be able to give her things that I wasn't able to have, and not saying that I didn't have things growing up, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't fall into that stereotypical teen mom, young parent, single mom narrative.
Was it hard for you though? Because I know I always ask anybody that had kids when they were young, is like, you have friends to hang around with, you have things to do, you basically thinking about, okay, I'm gonna do this summer, I'm gonna do this. Was it hard for you having your child as soon as you went into college, especially because college as a freshman, you wanna enjoy that experience? Can you describe that experience though?
I think having my daughter so young, I think that kept me out of trouble. Okay. Honestly, I mean, I wasn't going to all the parties and everything that my peers were going to. I was working multiple jobs to be able to take care of things. I wouldn't say that I regret it, but yes, was it hard? Of course, but having a child at 35 is hard. I think that, but I will say that it definitely made me who I am today. It centered me. It made me focus, made me lock in. I don't know where I would be now if I didn't have my daughter.
Right. So she kind of gave you that push. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she kind of gave you that push. I mean, that's good that you had a daughter and chose to go in a proper direction, because a lot of people usually don't see that. And today it's a lot of people having kids. I had this one guy on the podcast, and we was speaking about that. And he said that it's kids having kids because you come across certain kids, their mom is young and they behave a certain way. Do you think that also affects a kid's behavior? You know, when a kid is growing up with a young mom, like they're able to do whatever, they become bad, and so do you think that would be like one thing that makes them bad?
I don't know. My daughter's very well behaved, and I was a young mom. I think parenting's hard, and I never try to speak on how others parent. Right. No parent is perfect. No person is perfect. As long as you're just doing the best that you can, and you're actually putting in that genuine effort, and you love your children, I think that's what's important.
That's true, man. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Of course.
I just wanted to make this nice and easy, you know, just a nice little sit down. But I'll have you here next time, though. Plus one.
Yes, Jaleesa's gonna have to come the next time.
Plus one, she's gonna have to come. But yeah, man, this is Easy Pin Child Podcast, man. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, yeah, go ahead and follow Black Boys Read 2. Yes. And if they want to follow your personal, you can tell them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Black Boys Read 2 is on. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're much busier on Instagram, so definitely follow. We're Black Boys Read 2 _BFLO, and it's 2 with TOO. We have a website, blackboysread2.org. Check us out there. We're going to be having events coming up again. You can see where all our locations for our bookshelves are, as well as if you want to donate, or if you want to donate with money, or if you want to donate with our Amazon book list, wish list. We're in the process of doing a summer book drive right now through the end of August. We're going to be switching out our books, so stay tuned for all of that.
Stay tuned, man. Thank you, and you have a wonderful evening. Let's go.
Thank you.